Hi everyone, today is August 17th, 2019, 2:30 p.m., 86 degrees Fahrenheit, 30 degrees Celsius. I'm going to take you on a walk of Industry City today. So, Industry City is a business park located in the Sunset Park neighborhood of Brooklyn. It used to be full of industry, hence the name. And it actually used to be two different places. Originally it was called Bush Terminal. Bush Terminal is actually down there, past where the Costco wholesale is. But the northern section retained its name as Industry City. Now instead of industry, there still is some industry, although not much left. It's been reconverted into a lot of office space and food halls and other places of recreation for the public to enjoy. This is 3rd Avenue and 37th Street. You can get here easily by taking the N, D, or R trains to the 36th Street station in Brooklyn. But the history of Industry City, it used to be a big shipping terminal and warehousing complex because it's located right by the water. In fact, the United States Navy used it for a little while. But Industry City spans about 4 or 5 different blocks. It has huge buildings in between each block, and they house some of the very impressive structures and old remnants of the manufacturing industry back in the day. Here's even an ironworks place, so there is still industry here. But here's Industry City's food hall. We got a cookies place. This kind of area resembles the Chelsea Market in Manhattan. These food halls have become more popular in recent years. There's a lot of creative offices as well, the creative studios. There's Ends Meat, interesting name over there. Pork bones and tendons you can get. Korean food, a supply store. Supply store doesn't really fit in this food hall, but is here. The Bangkok Bar. Pizzeria, a lot of places to sit around here too. I'll show you this side of the Industry City. It's pretty cool that they have a big redevelopment of this area. It sat idle for a long time. Just take a look at some of these structures that connect the buildings to each other. Pretty impressive. Here's a cocktail and wines outdoor stand. You can order a lot of food and drinks and come here to relax. It's a lot less crowded than Manhattan's Chelsea Market or the other famous food halls in Manhattan. There's even some play areas for some children. Keep in mind that once you leave this area, there's no alcohol allowed. The police are pretty strict about that. You can only drink alcohol in the designated locations. There's a parking lot across the street you can, if you decide to drive. Down there further is also named Industry City. There's a training center for HSS, I believe, and it says ABC Carpet and Home. You can see the World Trade Center in the background. And the Statue of Liberty, I just saw at a glance, but you may not be able to see it on camera because it's so far. But we're right by the water here.
Okay.
Here's a map of Industry City if you'd like to pause it and see where everything is. They've got a lot of interesting little places here you can go and visit. Warehouses, offices, different cuisines. The buildings to my left also host the Japan Village, which recently opened. Love the look of these old signs that says Industry City Building number 2. This is building number 3 of Industry City right now, nicknamed Innovation Alley. We got a bakery here, sandwiches and salads. Power-Song history, chess lessons, chess at 3. Referencing building number 3. Maybe you can bring your children here and they can become the next Garry Kasparov or Mikhail Tal, for those of you who are into chess. This is pretty overwhelming. If you just come here, it's like the sky's the limit here. Unlike anything in New York City you've seen. To the left is the men's bathroom and to the right is the women's. So if you ever want to know where the bathroom is, this is where it is. Not too far from the food hall and the Japan Village. This is a very, very interesting sculpture. Not sure what this is supposed to be, but Could make for a cool Instagram spot. I still have 3 more blocks of Industry City to cover, everyone. Keep in mind that not every block of Industry City is closed to traffic. The one I was just on was open to motor vehicles. Here's building number 4. There's a courtyard here and a bar. I'll go into this building later after I finish walking through the Japan Village, which is at the front of this location here. You can get some really good pictures here, and no one will ever think you're in New York. They think you'll be in another city, because whoever thinks of New York City as an industry of big warehouses, you get all your cool Instagram pics here. Very, very nice mural. I love this old green staircase. Probably as a fire escape even. But here's a mural of an oriental fish. I believe that's koi, but I'm entering the Japan Village right now. That's the second time that happened. I pulled the wrong door. But yeah, this is Japan Village. Obanayaki. Over here is the grocery store, the Sunrise Mart. Here's a bento and onigiri place. Cafe Japan. A lot of nice pastries and lattes and drinks. Over there you can get some katsu. Here's udon and soba. It's a ramen place. I'll show you some of the treats here. Green tea tiramisu, New York cheesecake, cheese souffle. Looks too good. But that's Japan Village. Thank you. To the right of me is the Brooklyn-Queens Expressway, traveling above 3rd Avenue in Brooklyn, Sunset Park. There's a barbecue place in there, Hometown Barbecue. It's nice that they have all these places, but just from walking around here, it is honestly a little bit difficult to find all these places because they don't really have any signs pointing to where everything is unless you like walk halfway in. I hear some equipment going, so there definitely is still some industry going on here. Here's ⁴ chocolates since 1923. We've got vintage clothing across the street. There's also a Yasso Tangbao Shanghai street food place, according to that sign. It's not located in the food hall because I just walked through there. Now I'm entering building 5 of Industry City. Vintage clothing store. Teresa Foglier. This looks like a Brooklyn coffee shop. Frying Pan Brooklyn. Very, very cool. They got all these places. And now this is probably one of my favorite outdoor areas within Industry City. We got a huge outdoor here with like tons and tons of leaves and trees and vegetation. This whole area is like a jungle in the middle of all these warehouses.
It's pretty hard to walk.
Here's a artificial turf here for people to enjoy. More restrooms up ahead. A comfort station. And that looks like a water tower maybe, or a lookout tower. Very cool. A game room over there. You know what, let me walk through this vegetation again. It's just so cool. Kind of reminds me of the High Line a little bit. And now we got Maglia Rosa and UPS over here. Brooklyn Kura Craft Sake. A very different kind of seating area, bench. And yeah, here's the sake place. If you got confused in Industry City, this is the sign you want to look for. I think I'm a little bit overwhelmed just looking at that sign where everything is. It's just like pointing all over the place. But we got a another mural to my right. Wow, you're the best thing that's ever happened to me. There's even like a cat there, a cat sculpture, which is kind of cool. Barrow's Intense Ginger to my left. A lot of craft breweries here that in locations which used to be industry. This time I'm picking the right door because every time I've pushed in the left, it didn't let me. So let's go this way. Now this is the quieter part of Industry City, which hasn't been renovated or redeveloped. It still houses a lot of old-fashioned companies. Look at the signs here. There's one that says Payless Office Products. That window doesn't look like it's been cleaned in ages. The U.S. Post Office has a store here, or a location here, I should say. But I'm just gonna go around here and take you down the next block, and that'll be it for Industry City. This side of Industry City, I actually wouldn't recommend too much for you to visit. It is a little bit farther from the train, and unless you really need the post office, there isn't too much here. There is a lot of like office space here, creative studios and whatnot, but if you're here for the food and the shopping options, I recommend the southern section near 36th Street. Here, I'll just show you. Cobblestone Street. And this doesn't really look like a place you want to walk down, does it? So, this is what Industry City used to look like before all those renovations happened and all the food halls moved in and whatnot. In time, I believe this will change also, but if you want to get a sense for the history, you come down this street here, the northern end, near 33rd Street. There's Bush Terminal Center, AHRC. I did reference in the beginning of the neighborhood that this area used to be called Bush Terminal, and then it forged another identity of its own, calling itself Industry City. Okay, let's look back. I wonder how it looks looking back. You know what this kind of reminds me of? This kind of looks like one of those post-apocalyptic films where like the windows are all blown out and like nothing's renovated, like after a nuclear fallout. But here I am, still in Brooklyn. If you want a shot without any people, a nice picture, you come here. And just think that this area was really productive back in the World Wars, World War I and World War II. This area actually suffered a long period of decline after World War II. The name Industry City only came out around the 1970s. But now there's a lot of the areas operated by the NYCEDC, the Economic Development Corporation. It's a public-private government entity. But anyway, hope you like this tour of Industry City. Some of those food options inside the food halls and Japan Village look really tasty. But if you like this video, be sure to give it a big thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already. And I'll see you all next time.